Jadda's Craft Cottage. Today we're going to show you how to make these panorama sugar Easter eggs. Let's get started. For the shell of the egg, you will need some plastic molds. There is a link on my description for both the small and larger egg on Amazon. A 4-pound bag of fine granulated sugar, the egg whites from 2 eggs, or 4 tablespoons of egg whites slightly beaten, some food coloring, cardboard, and some sewing string. Pour the sugar into a large bowl. I'm using the liquid egg whites, so there are 4 tablespoons in it. Make a well into your sugar and pour the egg whites in. And using your hands, mix the egg whites thoroughly. You want the mixture to be damp. This will take about 3 or 4 minutes to mix up. I'm going to split this mixture into 2 so I could have 2 different colors for the shell. Now add a little liquid food coloring, a few drops at a time. You want the sugar to be a light pastel. Make sure your molds are clean and dry. This is going to be the top because it doesn't have a flat edge. Spoon the sugar into the mold and pack it tightly. Place a piece of cardboard over the top of the mold, turn it over, and gently remove the mold. You can see that the sugar didn't get all the way to the mold around here and right here. So I'm going to throw this back into the container and redo it. This egg is smoother than the other one. Now take a piece of thread and saw it into the sugar at the pointy end, about 3/4 of an inch to an inch from the edge. Do not remove that, return it back to it and hold it tight. Now you can do the same to the bottom part of the egg. The bottom part of the egg has a flat edge. If it doesn't have a flat edge on the bottom, we'll have to do some trimming. Line up the second egg next to the first egg so you can see where the cut line will be. Let them sit out and air dry for about 4.5 hours. We want a little crust on top of it. If both of your molds are smooth, like these are, and you don't have a definite bottom, you'll have to shave off the hump of one of the sides. Just enough to make it so it sits flat on the table. You can set these aside until they're dry. When the shell has a hard crust, carefully scoop out the insides into a different bowl. You want to leave about a half an inch or less around the rim. We will set these aside. Once you have scooped out the sugar from these egg shells, place the sugar in a plastic bag and crush it. From this you can make more egg shells. The mixture should be moist. If you have a cake decorating set, these are some of the tips we'll be using to make flowers. A rose tip, they have different numbers on it to show you the different sizes. This is a nail tip, and you'll see there's a nail on it, and it'll make a flower that way. I call these the shell tip because they'll turn out to be shells or flowers. This is a leaf tip. It has a notch out of the top of it. I call this the grass tip, and this is just a variety of holes that are large to small for writing or making dots. We're going to make royal icing for the flowers and other decorations. In a mixer, combine 4 cups of confectionery sugar or powdered sugar. I put 3 in here. This is the 4th one. 3 tablespoons of meringue powder and 6 tablespoons of water. We're going to mix this and beat it for 7 to 10 minutes. The icing is quite thick. When the royal icing is ready, place a damp towel over the whole bowl. This will prevent the icing from drying out. To make a pastry bag, you're going to use one of these disposable pastry bags and cut about 1 inch off the tip. Using a coupling, there's 2 parts to it. Insert the coupling and pushing it all the way down through the hole. Put a tip on it, one of the pastry tips, and then secure it with the other top. Mix a little gel food coloring with part of the royal icing. Just a drop at a time. Fold over the bag so it has a cup on it. Put the icing in the bag, pushing down towards the tip. Roll the cuff back up. Again, put all the icing down towards the tip. twist the top. I use a pastry bag rubber band that has a little hook on it. I'm going to wrap it around, not over it, but around it, and have the hook go through the rubber band. Now the icing is secure and it won't go out to the back end. When you're not using the bag, always place a wet towel over the tip. I've got a rose tip on my bag. I'm going to place a little of the royal icing on top of my nail and place a piece of wax paper on it. Make sure your icing is down. With the tip that is longer, it's shorter on this side, you're going to place that down towards the nail. And I'm just going to swirl it around to see if I can make a cone. Going from left to right, I'm going to make an arc. Turning my nail each time. Going between the one petal to the next petal. If you want to try carnation, put your icing on the nail tip and put your wax paper on top of it. You're going to use the same tip that you had with the rose, and you're just going to go up and back, all around the tip. Now go inside. You can also make some tiny rosettes. Now this is backwards from the camera, but I'm going up with the same tip twice, and then the third time in the center. The tip on the bottom, and you're going to go up and back, up and back, and a third time. So it's 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. This tip looks like a star tip. I call it my shell tip, but we're going to do two things with this. The first thing I'm going to do is make little flowers, and I'm just going to put it down and turn it. We're also going to use it as a shawl border. So you take it and you're going to push it hard out one end and then go out against it and pull it out. Add a little contrasting dot to the center. You can even put a dot in between your shells. Let them set overnight before you move them. Now we'll assemble the eggs. I've made up another batch of royal icing. If you do not have meringue powder to use for this recipe, you can use egg whites from 3 eggs or 5 tablespoons of egg whites, a half teaspoon of cream of tartar, and 4 cups of confectioner or powdered sugar. You want to beat it at a high speed for 7 to 10 minutes. I'm using a turntable to place my egg on. You want to find some mini bunnies and chicks to go inside the egg. Place the items in the egg for placement. Do not overcrowd it. Once you've placed them in the egg, remove them from the egg and set them aside. For the grass, I'm using this little tip here that has a bunch of little holes in it. It almost looks like spaghetti would be coming out of it, or garlic. I put it with green icing. You want to make sure you cover your icing with a wet towel all the time. Cover the tips. I'm starting at the back of my egg and I'm going to slide it up. I want to continue with the grass all over the egg. Cover the whole bottom with grass. Now you can place the items that you put in. The grass will act like a glue. So I'm going to set this up here at the biggest one in behind. Now if you have anything that's like this that are individual, you may have to use a little glue, and I'm using just white, and stick a little bit in the center to place these tiny items inside. You don't want them to move around. I'm going to add some of these fake flowers to the back so it covers where my rim is. Now we're going to place the top on it. I have some white icing and a writing tip, and I'm just going to make it go right on the rim. Carefully add the top to it, making sure it all lines up. I want to cover the center with a little plastic. This is from a laminating sheet, or you can use just some plastic that you have around the house that you've got from the grocery store. I drew a circle around it. I'm going to cut around the circle. Matches pretty well. I'm going to wash it with a little Windex. Wash it on both sides so it's nice and clean. Now I'm going to take the white icing that I had before. I'm going to draw a line around the rim on the outside. Place the film over the center. This will protect everything that's inside. Now with the flower tip, I'm going to start at a corner and just start making little shells. We're going to use the same icing and go around the rim. This is where your turntable helps you out. If you have a little bit of an opening spot here, you can go over and make a double ring on it. Now with some of the flowers you made before, add them to the top. I'm putting a little glue on top. This is actually the icing, but I call it the glue also. To finish this off, you want to put little leaves underneath your flowers. You could put somebody's name on here and the date on the sides. This is our panorama egg. These are a few of the eggs that my friends did with me. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. A day without sunshine is just an extra day for crafting.